Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
You've heard that old story of what does a pigeon do when it sees the cat coming. It gets so scared that it gets into a denial that maybe the cat is not coming. It shuts its eyes tight. Obviously the cat comes and the pigeon is, see you later. Now, what is worse than this? Cowardice or fooling yourself. Fooling yourself at the cost of your own life. What is worse than this is also then making sure or somehow shutting the eyes of all the other pigeons as well. So maybe tomorrow they can all be taken. A little bit of that is happening in many parts of our country with our coronavirus fight. And I will tell you why I say this with data and figures. And I start with Delhi in particular, which is now beginning to look bad. In fact, you will see a couple of stories now on the print.in that will show you the kind of mess that we are now seeing at Delhi's crematoriums and graveyards and also at the mortuaries of Delhi's hospitals. Things are looking quite ugly, in fact, right now. Not to scare anybody, but the fact is that these crises are expected in big cities. Question is, are we then rising up to take them on or face them, face the reality, to deal with this cat that's coming in, or are we closing our eyes? Now, what are our eyes? Our eyes are testing. Testing, you can't test millions and millions and millions all the time. You can't test like America. You can't test the whole population of Wuhan as the Chinese have apparently done. If you believe China's figures, you can't do that. But still, India at this point can test 3 times as much as it's testing, at least 3 times. So India has now ramped up its testing to 1,42,000 a day, which is very good compared to when the lockdown started. It was 1,000 a day. But India, if it wishes, can take it up to 500,000 a day. That many test kits are being produced. Now, ICMR has given an instruction that only symptomatic people have to be tested. So people who are contacts even of symptomatic people are usually not tested, and I will come to that point towards the end of this conversation with you. But the important thing is that when your test positivity rate is rising, which means if the percentage of people you test that turn out positive is rising, you have to up your testing. When India started, the test positivity rate was nothing. Then it went to 1%, 2%, 3%, but you still said, look, my test positivity rate is only 3%. Last week, that is May 31 to June 6, it has gone up to 7.5%. And there also, yesterday, the last 24 hours, it's gone up to 8.2%, which means 1 out of 12 is turning out positive. 1 out of 12 tested is turning out positive. Symptomatic, mostly symptomatic. Now, this is rising. It is generally believed, and that's what high officials and ICMR also tell me, that it's generally believed globally now that once your test positivity rate goes beyond 10%, you have to increase your testing. Otherwise, up to 10%, it tells you that epidemiologically, you are picking up the disease all right. That is at the national level. But see what happens at the granular level, because national level picture in a large country, we are a continent sized country. National level picture can hide many sins. It can also exaggerate many sins. So look at the areas from where the bulk of India's cases and the bulk of India's fatalities are coming from, and look at some large states or populations in India. So Delhi, unfortunately, where I stand today, Delhi yesterday had 37.32% case positivity rate, not fatality, case positivity rate, 37.82. That means of the 3 people who were tested, 1 was definitely positive. Maybe you can say of the 30 people who were tested, 12 were positive. That's a very high test positivity rate, which means when Delhi turned to test positivity rate of 10%, Delhi should have upped its testing, but Delhi has chosen not to do it, and it is not doing it. Delhi has not reduced its testing. Its testing remains where it is. Delhi today has this unfortunate, dubious distinction of having the highest test positivity rate by far in the whole country, and almost 5 times as much as the national average. This is not good. This is looking bad for Delhi. And then you have other consequences. Then you have other quote unquote champion states. Champion, obviously, I don't mean champion at the good side. Telangana, this is last 24 hours figures. Telangana, 23.66% TPR, test positivity rate. Maharashtra, 23.12% TPR. And once again, if I can extrapolate Bombay over this, I'm sure, in fact, I'm looking at data, it is upwards of 40%. So once again, trouble, trouble, trouble. And Bombay also has not reduced its testing. It had stopped increasing its testing several weeks ago. It had gone to a peak, then moderated a little bit. It has stayed there. So as its TPR has gone up, it has not increased its testing, which it should have done. Bihar tests very little, TPR of 22.83. Gujarat, 13.47. But once again, if you cut Gujarat as Ahmedabad and the rest, you will find that Ahmedabad has a very high TPR. Also fatalities, we'll come to that later. Then you have Tamil Nadu 11.25 and Haryana 10.23. These are all the states which have now shown TPR above 10. So they have to start testing again. States like Delhi, Telangana, Maharashtra, Bihar, they have to start testing several times over again. Delhi has to start testing at least 3 to 4 times over again. Why this resistance to testing, I don't know. Then you see some other double champion states. Champions are people, this is a dubious list, but double champions whose test positivity rate is going up, but they are reducing their testing. On this quote unquote proud list, you have West Bengal. They have come down from 11,919 tests, 11,919 to 8,909. Their TPR is 26%. Telangana from 1,032, 579, 45%. Bihar, 42%. These are really states which should be testing more, but they are testing less. Why? Because they somehow think that like this they can reduce their overall positive number. So once again, it's a pigeon closing its eye at the cat that's coming in. I'm sorry, parrot, you are not pigeon, I know, but you are the closest I have right now. So this is some little disaster that is unfolding. If you look at the figures over May 31 and June 6, that week, you will see the chart on the screen also. Delhi, total tests conducted 35,210. Total positive cases 11,623. I told you it's going up. So 33% exactly, 1 in 3. But last 24 hours, 37.66%. Maharashtra, 88,316 tests. Maharashtra is a very large state. 19,231 positive, TPR of 21.8%. Again, Mumbai is above 40%. Telangana, just 4,714 tests. Telangana is a large state with the city of Hyderabad in it. 19.51% TPR. Gujarat, 38,041 tests, 13.4% TPR. Then Tamil Nadu, 89,778, 11.6% TPR. And Haryana again, 31,309, 8.7% TPR. So all these are states now over the last week that have stayed above the national average of 7.5% over the last week. That average was, national average was now 8.02% yesterday. So the average is rising, and there I told you states that are above 10%, which should have, even under conventional epidemiology, should have increased their testing but are not. And their champion of champions, Delhi, has 37.66%. Somebody has to start worrying about Delhi, because just keeping your numbers low by testing less, when almost almost 2 out of 5 of your tests are turning out positive is shambolic. It is completely not acceptable. Then you also have some other states. I've got this data today. Some other states which are testing at a very low level. So Telangana, of course, Telangana is the champion of champions, right? Telangana is testing, has only conducted in this week 4,714 tests, and I will give you their test figures, ratios per million population. Telangana 121 per million, very low. Bihar 21,260 tests, 174 per million. Uttar Pradesh 232 per million, much better than Uttar Pradesh. In that sense, is twice as good as Telangana. Although Uttar Pradesh is much bigger than Telangana, and you think Uttar Pradesh is an Ulta Pradesh, it's a Bimaru state, it's a poor state. So even Yogi's government there is doing enormously better than KCR's government in Telangana. Kerala, surprisingly, again testing very little, 391 per million. And Kerala model is hailed by everybody, but 391 per million. Madhya Pradesh 469 per million. These are all states that are testing less. Chhattisgarh 504 per million. Odisha 519 per million. Gujarat 587 per million. All India is 685 per million. So all these are sizable states which are trailing the national average of 685 per million. That tells you the other side of the story, the good story, which is states like Karnataka, Andhra, which are testing a lot more. They are actually showing very good results on the ground in terms of their horizon, their cases and their fatalities. So you can see that states, Tamil Nadu, the states that do the right thing, Tamil Nadu has a large number of cases, very low fatalities, because they are catching those cases much earlier, and they have a good primary health system. They are catching those cases much earlier by testing a lot more. But states that are not are the ones that are getting the country into a mess. So these are states, these are not necessarily the poorest states in India. These are large, sizable states. They are all below the national average of 685 per million. Then you come to the fatality figures. Now there are two ways of looking at fatalities. One is case fatality rate, which means of the positive cases you had, what percentage died. Now that will go up depending on how much you are how less you are testing. The more you test, the more positive cases you have, the less will be your percentage of people who die. So your case fatality rate will go down. For example, your state or your city can have 1,000 deaths. 1,000 deaths, if you had 100,000 positives, is 1% case fatality rate, which means to get 100,000 positives, you might have had to test at least 50 times, 60 times that many. But if you test less and you have only 10,000 positives, you might say, fantastic, I have only 10,000 positives, right? Very good it looks. But your case fatality rate then is 10%. So you can rank yourself in two different ways. One is, I have so many positive cases, I am the lowest, so I am the tops. Second, my fatality rate is the highest in terms of percentage of my cases. Is that a top position that you want to have? Think about it. That's where now Maharashtra, Delhi, Mumbai, Delhi are now getting, and they have to think about it. So all states now possibly have to stop changing the way they look at their data, and they have to change the target that they are addressing. The target they are addressing is not this family shame of how many positive cases I have. Target they are addressing should be how low or how low, that's a target, is my case fatality rate. So one way is to not register fatalities. Some states unfortunately are doing it, and there's pressure, but there are limitations to what you can do it. You can do that in one figure, two figures, three figures, 150, 200, but not more than that. It's not possible, because when bodies pile up at your Shamshan Ghats and your burial grounds, and when there are queues of people in front of the firewood stall at your major crematoria, when people are lined up outside your electric crematoria, when government and ICMR are nudging you to increase your cremation capacity, both with wood and electrically, you know that you are in deep trouble. And that's where you have to address the right metric. You have to go after discovering more cases. So one, you can reduce fatalities, catch cases early, and second, you then also can take pride in the fact that, look, I might have had so many cases, but my case fatality rate is so low, that's not being done. So if you look at fatalities, Delhi, as you would expect, 40.67 per million. Delhi, 40.67 per million. That is, if you believe Delhi's official figures, which I have doubts about, and most people have doubts about. Gujarat is 19.08 per million, but once again, if you cut and slice it for Ahmedabad, it will be as high as Delhi. In fact, it will be higher than Delhi. Ahmedabad is probably the highest in the country as a city. Ahmedabad has been handled very poorly. Gujarat itself has been handled very poorly. Then you have Maharashtra, 24.1 per million. But once again, you dice it to Mumbai, you will find more than 40 per million. So Delhi, Mumbai, Ahmedabad. I don't have yet data cut to the cities, but I'll do it in a day or so. But I know approximately all three are in the 40 per million ballpark, which is not good. In comparison, Bengaluru is how many per million? 1 per million. So in fact, you also have to see that the states that do the right thing benefit. If you look at Karnataka as a state, their deaths per million are 0.87. It is among the lowest in the country, definitely lowest among the large states. UP is also 1.13 if you believe UP's data. But you don't have such a spread in UP yet, but Karnataka is where this came very early. Bangalore is a very big international city. They've tested a lot. They've handled, in fact, people say Kerala model, this Bhilwara model, that model. The state that gets very poor credit, but should get a lot more credit for all this is Karnataka. So other states ought to learn from Karnataka. Then I know that all of you are curious about West Bengal, so it's 3.85 per million. Mumbai, now this is again data of about 2 weeks back, was 78 per million. So I don't know what it is now, but Mumbai looks quite bad. And then there is, as I told you, there is Delhi. Kolkata is about 23, 24 per million. Chennai is about 15, 16 per million. Bangalore is 1, Hyderabad is 2, but if you believe those figures, you must be very gullible. I don't, because any state that's refusing to test in the first place, how do I trust their figures on anything? Then, just for an overall comparison, we need to also know what are India's overall figures. And India's overall figures are just 5 per million. 5 per million for India is very small yet. But if you compare to that 5 per million and Delhi, Delhi is already more than 8 times India's fatality rate, national fatality rate, and Mumbai is probably 10 times India's case fatality rate per million, and Ahmedabad is also somewhere in that ballpark. So, you know, just because you hide your figures and just because you close your eyes to the oncoming cat, you can do no better than the silly pigeon. Now, I know that this goes on all the time, and last week I had taken up the case of one country which has been praised a great deal, but which seems to have come unstuck with its strategy, Sweden, the great socialist utopia. You can see Sweden is now flattening the curve of deaths, but deaths is still going on while its neighbors are doing all right with less than 1/10 of the deaths. Having said that, the other country that's often mentioned in the same light is New Zealand. As I had said the other day, देश का नेता कैसा हो, जसिंदा आर्डन जैसा हो, दुनिया का नेता कैसा हो, जसिंदा आर्डन जैसा हो. So you have to put New Zealand in perspective, and I have to raise an interesting question with you. One, if you look at New Zealand as such, great, she's done a great job. In fact, there is a story today on the print.in that tells you that New Zealand now has a 95% chance of eradicating the virus. Fantastic. I wish we could all go and live in New Zealand. But New Zealand has no place for all of us. All of New Zealand is 48 lakh people. That is 1/4 of the population of Delhi or Bombay. Not just that, New Zealand's population density for the entire country is 14, 1/4. India's population density in comparison is 464. Now you calculate how many times more is that. I just make a quick mental calculation. It's about 35 times more, right? And you know that this virus loves density. New Zealand's most crowded city, Auckland, has a population density of 1,210. Population density of Delhi is 29,259. Population density of Mumbai is 32,303. Even the population density of New York City is 10,715 per square kilometer. So you cannot compare either New Zealand as a country or its city with almost any major country. Forget any major country, any major city of the world also. And when this came up, somebody said, why can't we elect Jacinda Ardern, the president of the whole world? I responded by some of this data, and then a brilliant IAS officer in Odisha cadre, Somesh Upadhyay, he also wrote something, and he said, look, everybody wants New Zealand's prime minister to be your prime minister or your president to be your president, but there's another country called Namibia. Many of you can place it on the map of the world, but it's not a country that we think about very often. It's on the southwestern Africa, just above, just north and west of South Africa that we know much more about. It's a large country, 3.5 times the size of New Zealand is said. It has about 60–70% of the population of New Zealand. It has also not had a case of COVID for a long time. Its testing rate per million is higher than New Zealand's. Its per capita income is a fourth of New Zealand's. New Zealand, by the way, is 20 times of India's. Even Namibia is 5 times of India's. Namibia is about the same as China per capita income. It's a small country, but nobody says, Somesh Upadhyay said, that Namibia's leader should be our leader. It's also a very peaceful country. It has a lot more diversity. It has about 15 major tribes, including 7% whites. And that, I'm sure, means that its per capita income has high incidence of inequality. It has 10 official languages. All this diversity, very peaceful country, no COVID death so far, no active cases. But once again, not only does nobody say that its leader should be the world's leader, but in fact, I'm quite sure most of you can't even tell me the name of the leader or whether it's a man or a woman. So let me tell you, I also researched. This is a man. His name is Hage Geingob. In fact, I had to check out Google for pronunciation. Hage Geingob, he's been in power for some time. Do check him out, and as and when we find some interesting facts like these, we'll share with you, because this is a grim period of time. So it's interesting also to look at some unusual facts, and also in a sort of in a funny way, or maybe in a tragic way, coronavirus is also making us discover the rest of the world in a manner we would not have done. Having said that, before I go away, remember, the pigeon that closes its eyes with the cat coming at it is always eaten up. The pigeon which also then throws the dust in other pigeons' eyes or closes their eyes also is driving them into the same kind of danger. Some of our states now at this point are leading us in that direction. So be careful and ask the right questions.